He was now in America. He was in a major American city, rich with billions, populated with millions, and determined to stay the way it was. Prabhupada saw Boston from the viewpoint of a pure devotee of Krishna. He saw the hellish city life, people dedicated to the illusion of material happiness. All his dedication and training moved him to give these people the transcendental knowledge and saving grace of Krishna consciousness. Yet he was feeling weak, lowly, and unable to help them on his own. He was but an insignificant beggar with no money. He had barely survived the two heart attacks at sea. He spoke a different language. He dressed strangely. Yet he had come to tell people to give up meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, and gambling, and to teach them to worship Lord Krishna, who to them was a mythical Hindu god. What would he be able to accomplish? Helplessly, he spoke his heart directly to God. I wish that you may deliver them. I am seeking your benediction so that I can convince them. And for convincing them, he would trust in the power of God's holy name and in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This transcendental sound would clean away desire for material enjoyment from their hearts and awaken loving service to Krishna. On the streets of Boston, Prabhupada was aware of the power of ignorance and passion that dominated the city, but he had faith in the transcendental process. He was tiny, but God was infinite, and God was Krishna, his dear friend. On the 19th of September, the Jaladuta sailed into New York Harbor and docked at a Brooklyn pier at 17th Street. Srila Prabhupada saw the awesome Manhattan skyline, the Empire State Building, and, like millions of visitors and immigrants in the past, the Statue of Liberty. Srila Prabhupada was dressed appropriately for a resident of Vrindavana. He wore Kandimala, neck beads, and a simple cotton dhoti, and he carried Japamala, chanting beads, and an older chadar or shawl. His complexion was golden, his head shaven, shika in the back, his forehead decorated with the whitish Vaishnava tilaka. He wore pointed white rubber slippers, not uncommon for sadhus in India, but who in New York had ever seen or dreamed of anyone appearing like this Vaishnava. He was possibly the first Vaishnava sannyasi to arrive in New York with uncompromised appearance. Of course, New Yorkers have an expertise in not giving much attention to any kind of strange new arrival. Srila Prabhupada was on his own. He had a sponsor, Mr. Agarwal, somewhere in Pennsylvania. Surely someone would be here to greet him, although he had little idea of what to do as he walked off the ship onto the pier. I did not know whether to turn left or right. He passed through the dockside formalities and was met by a representative from Travelers Aid sent by the Agarwals in Pennsylvania, who offered to take him to the Scindia ticket office in Manhattan to book his return passage to India. At the Scindia office, Prabhupada spoke with the ticket agent, Joseph Forrester, who was impressed by this unusual passenger's Vaishnava appearance, his light luggage, and his apparent poverty. He regarded Prabhupada as a priest. Most of Scindia's passengers were businessmen or families, so Mr. Forrester had never seen a passenger wearing the traditional Vaishnava dress of India. He found Srila Prabhupada to be a pleasant gentleman who spoke of the nice accommodations and treatment he had received about the Jaladuta. Prabhupada asked Mr. Forrester to hold space for him on a return ship to India. His plans were to leave in about 2 months, and he told Mr. Forrester that he would keep in touch. Carrying only 40 rupees cash, which he himself called a few hours spending in New York, and an additional $20 he had collected from selling 3 volumes of the Bhagavatam to Captain Pantia. Srila Prabhupada, with umbrella and suitcase in hand, and still escorted by the traveler's aid representative, set out for the Port Authority bus terminal to arrange for his trip to Butler. Chapter 13, Butler, Pennsylvania, the first testing ground. By the grace of Lord Krishna, the Americans are prosperous in every respect. They are not poverty stricken like the Indians. The people in general are satisfied so far as their material needs are concerned, and they are spiritually inclined. When I was in Butler, Pennsylvania, about 500 miles from New York City, I saw there many churches and they were attending regularly. This shows that they are spiritually inclined. I was also invited by some churches and church governed schools and colleges, and I spoke there, and they appreciated it and presented me some token rewards. When I was speaking to the students, they were very eager to hear about the principles of Srimad Bhagavatam, but the clergymen were cautious about allowing students to hear me so patiently. They feared that the students might be converted to Hindu ideas, as is quite natural for any religious sect. But they do not know that devotional service of the Lord Sri Krishna is the common religion for everyone, including even the aborigines and cannibals in the jungle. From a letter to Sumati Moraji. The bus came swinging out of the terminal into the daylight of midtown Manhattan, riding along in the shadows of skyscrapers, through asphalt streets crowded with people, trucks, and automobiles, and into the heavy traffic bound toward the Lincoln Tunnel. The bus entered the tunnel and emerged on the Jersey side of the Hudson River, continuing down the New Jersey Turnpike past fields of huge oil tanks and sprawling refineries. The Manhattan skyline was on the left, while 3 lanes of traffic sped 60 miles an hour in each direction. Newark Airport came up close by on the right, with jets visible on the ground. Electric power lines spanning aloft between steel towers stretched into the horizon. Srila Prabhupada had never before witnessed anything of such magnitude. He was now seeing for himself that American culture was based on passion for more and more sense gratification, and it was a scene of madness. For what important business were people rushing to and fro at breakneck speed? He could see their goals advertised on the billboards. Hare Krishna. To summarize today's reading, Prabhupada arrived Boston Harbor on September 19th. Prabhupada's dedication and all his writings, publishing books in India were to give people the transcendental knowledge or spread Krishna consciousness in the West. After he came to America, he came to know that how materially inclined the people were, and they live in darkness, doing all kinds of sinful activities. Prabhu's prayer to Krishna was to have mercy upon him to convince his people. His trust was only in the holy name and Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada has no money, only like 40 rupees cash. And he was strange looking to others, like wearing the traditional Vaishnava dress, kandimala, cotton dhoti, old shawl, wearing the slippers, which nobody does in America. So then Prabhupada understood that Americans are prosperous, not like Indians, and they are spiritually inclined. After he came to Pennsylvania, he understood that their culture is based on passion for more and more sense gratification. but they are spiritually inclined, so Prabhupada have a hope that he can change them or save them. Then he met his sponsor, Mr. Agarwal, because of his father. This Mr. Agarwal was trying to help